introducing another important and vital member of our ship here, I guess you'd call it, the captain of our ship, our vice president and director of the John Felice Rome Center, Emilio Iodice. A few words about Emilio. He has spent over 3 decades as a senior executive in the public and private sectors, as an educator, and now as a university administrator. Those 30 years of experience include being a key official in Washington, working for several administrations, reaching the top ranks of the civil service and the diplomatic corps. He remains among the most decorated officers in American history, with a gold medal for heroism, a gold medal and silver medal for exemplary service, nominations for the bronze medal, and numerous commendations and citations. He served as minister in key U.S. missions abroad, including Brasilia, Mexico City, Rome, Madrid, and Paris, and departed after being named to the list of future ambassadors. Among his honors are being knighted by the former King of Italy. He received medals of honor from Spain and Italy. At the mere age of 33, he was named by the President to the prestigious Senior Executive Service as a charter member. He was the youngest career public official to reach this distinction. Before joining Loyola, he was Vice President of Lucent Technologies, in charge of operations in numerous countries, and later taught full-time at Trinity College in Washington, D.C. He joined Loyola in 2007. After 1 year, he was promoted to Vice President. He speaks several languages, has traveled across the globe, and his passions in life are obviously the Rome Center, its students, faculty, and staff, Loyola University, very good music, writing and reading, his family, and in particular, his 3 grandchildren. His academic field is the field of study of leadership. In 2012, his book on tenor Mario Lanza was published, entitled A Kid from Philadelphia, Mario Lanza, The Voice of the Poets. In 2013, his second book, Profiles in Leadership, From Caesar to Modern Times, was published. Please help me welcome Emilio Iodice.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I always say that I wish my mother was here because she'd be the only one who would actually believe those things. But thank you very much. And also, I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of the class of 2013 and 2014, because when you're rich and famous, we're going to ask you for money. But more importantly, I'd like to have a round of applause for the marvelous people that you've been introduced to today, because each and every one of them is not only special in their field, but some of them are actually heroic, have done marvelous things. And I need to mention that Susana Cavallo is our first Dean of Faculty here at the Rome Center, and she's really changed our program miraculously. And we have Joe Metallo there. Joe is really someone that you all should get to know, because Joe, as I said, is a heroic figure. He's got a wonderful story to tell, and I wish I could tell it today. Well, you've heard a little bit about my background, and I feel it's my obligation to tell you some things that help you in the days and weeks ahead to enjoy those moments here at the Rome Center, and those moments that you'll experience as you travel, as you grow, and as you change to become a compassionate and courageous leader, because that's our objective. When I was in the 2nd grade, and I recall the 2nd grade because my granddaughter, who's 7 years old, asked me to tell her a story about my experience in the 2nd grade just this morning. This story came to mind, which I've told before. You all remember what it was like to be in grammar school where the teacher asked a question. Well, she asked the question, what is the strongest thing in the world? So I raised my hand and I said, the strongest thing in the world is a woman with a bottle. The weekend before, I explained, my father had taken my brother and I to the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I grew up in New York. And there, I saw something that was amazing. I saw this giant piece of metal mounted on these wooden blocks. There was a band, and there was a lady with a big hat with plumes and a bottle in her hand. And she broke that bottle on that ship and launched it. And I said, by far, that's the strongest thing in the world, and that woman is the strongest person in the world. I never forgot that moment, because I asked my father, where was that ship going? And he said it was bound on a round-the-world voyage. It would be stopping in ports everywhere. Well, just like my granddaughter this morning asked me a question about that story, I asked my father the same question. How could the captain of that ship bring it to all those ports that he couldn't see, or she couldn't see? And he said, if he or she follows the rules, plots the course, and looks at the stars, that ship will get to all of those ports. So, just like that ship that was launched long ago, today you're embarking on a journey. What are some of the things that you need to know as you begin this journey that will be a life-changing experience for you? I promise that. The days, weeks, and months that you spend here will change your life. What's the first thing to understand? It's about time. Think about this for a moment. Each of you here will most probably live another 100 years. Hard to believe. But each of you will be about 120 when your time passes on this earth. Another 100 years. That's the good news. The bad news is that you're going to live 100 years. What do you do with a century? What do you do with all that time? Obviously, you need to do something important and something that's well planned. The next thing is to prepare yourself for those 100 years, you need to know something important about yourself. You know, leadership begins with each and every one of us leading ourselves. How do you lead yourself? Leading ourselves each and every day by making the right kind of decisions based on facts, based on good information. So that's where this story comes into play. When I was stationed in Brazil, eu falo português para os brasileiros que estão aqui. How many Brazilians do we have? Did they raise their hand? Wow. Okay. Bem-vindo. I met a great soccer player. He was considered the greatest soccer player of all time. And I watched him perform. And I know many of you like soccer and know soccer. It was amazing. Every game, he scored. At least once, sometimes twice. Finally, after getting to know him for about a year, because he would come to visit us at the embassy, I asked him an important question. How is it that you always score? How is it that you always succeed? And he said, I know where the ball is going to bounce. I always know where the ball is going to bounce. I was confused, and I said, what do you mean by that? Well, he said, if I'm here, the ball is being played here, I know that in 30 seconds, it'll be there. And I'll position myself to get it in the gate. And that's the way he played. How did he develop this? Through experience, through knowledge, through facts, through training, and through instinct. What does it mean to understand where the ball is going to bounce? It's about the future. Thinking about the future in terms of our lives, and in terms of our occupations, what we want to do with those 100 years that are ahead of us. So, learning about where the ball is going to bounce. Obviously, another important factor is getting a good education, and you're getting it, but making sure that education is multifaceted. The best decision that you've made in your life is coming to the Rome Center and studying abroad. Another promise that I make to you. I've met thousands of alumni from this place in the last, that have been here from 1962 to now, and each and every one of them say that the most important moment of their lives was when they were here. It changed them, and it changed them to be the people who they are today. People like some of the amazing individuals that are working at the Rome Center to serve you. So many of them were here just like you. As I said before, understand that facts are our friends. Make decisions based on facts and not emotion. Hard to do, but you'll learn that during the time that you're here, because while you travel, you'll make sure that you're going to the right place and that you're accomplishing something important in each and every one of those places. Facts will be your friends, and I hope you'll discover models in life while you're here as well. Why do I say that? Because it's important on your journey that you have people that you can look up to. People that are your standards, that live up to your standards. For me, when someone asks me, who are my models? I say, if I have to make a moral decision, it's Jesus. If I make a management decision, it's Lincoln. For a Jew, it could be Moses. For a Buddhist, Buddha. You can pick anyone that you feel represents your values, but have models. Have people that you live up to. And something that's essential that I really want to leave you as a thought to think about. Learn gratitude. Let me tell you a story. A story about two students, Stanford, California, Stanford University, about 1880. Two poor engineering students, farm boys, who were desperate to finish their last year as seniors at that great university. They had no money, so they came up with an idea. They would invite the most popular performer in the world, who happened to be a Polish pianist, his name was Paderewski, to come and give a concert at Stanford. They promised that they would pay all his expenses, give him a fee, and with the profits, they would finish their education. Paderewski accepted. He came to California, performed in Palo Alto, but the concert wasn't successful. In fact, the two young men lost all of their money, and they approached the great pianist and said, look, here's a promissory note. We promise that we'll pay you over the next 3 years all that we owe you. We're leaving the university today, and we will give you interest on all that we owe you. Paderewski looked at that piece of paper and tore it up. And he said, young men, your education is paid for. You don't owe me a penny. And he finished the senior year for them with tuition and room and board. The years passed on. The century turned. World War I began. Poland, and I'm sure many of you here have a Polish background, Poland was destroyed in World War I. Devastated. along with many other countries of Europe. Paderewski became prime minister of his country at the end of the war. The United States and the League of Nations set up a relief effort in Brussels, and they named a young man to be the Tsar of Europe to head up this relief effort. He was the most important person in Europe because he had millions of dollars and food at his disposal. People were starving all over the continent. Paderewski wrote him a letter, and he said, "My people are dying by the millions. I need help." But the French needed help, the Belgians needed help, the Dutch needed help. Everyone needed help. Paderewski immediately received a telegram and said, "Come to Brussels right away." This young man received him and said, "Mr. Prime Minister, while we're speaking, thousands of trucks are on their way to Warsaw to distribute food. This is a check, millions of dollars, for you to take care of your people." The Prime Minister was flabbergasted, and he said, "How can I thank you for this?" And he said, You thanked me years ago when you paid for my education. This is a small way for me to thank you." That young man went on to be Secretary of Commerce and President of the United States. So that's a small story about gratitude. Understand gratitude. Understand the people that sent you here, that helped you make you who you will be someday. A compassionate and courageous leader. That's what this is all about. A couple of more thoughts, and then I know you're hungry and you're jet lagged, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Learn a sense of spirituality. No matter what you believe in, learn something about spirituality. I remember reading a book when I was your age called God is My Co-Pilot. It was a wonderful book about World War II, about a soldier and how he felt that God was always at his side as he was going through the ravages of World War II. You'll face many challenges in life. Don't be alone as you go through the next 100 years. And finally, find mentors. Find people who believe in you. Find people who will help you as you move forward in life. Some of them are right here. You'll find Dr. Cavallo, you'll find Cindy, Alvin, our SLA team, Dr. Evers. We have Father John. We have Professor Nicholson, who's been with us nearly 50 years. These are truly magnificent people. We're honored that they're with us. Please take advantage of their good heart, their brilliance, and their wisdom. Finally, I hope while you're here, you'll learn one more thing. Learn what love is about. The friends that you make here will be the friends that you have for the rest of your life. I promise you that as well. This has been the experience of all the people at the Rome Center. And you'll love that experience of getting to know them and them getting to know you, and to be the best of friends in the decades ahead. So be careful, be happy, enjoy yourself, and no one comes to Italy to lose weight. So, buon appetito.